Thank you, Madam Chairman, for this opportunity to address the full Council. I'm a spokesman for Cherry Hinton's Liberal Democrat members. My question is as follows. Which of the professionally recognised studies concerning early years and sure start provision and the probable results of its withdrawal were Cambridgeshire officers aware of when undertaking this cuts proposal, and how did those conclusions affect their findings? Now, I'm fully aware that the Council maintains there will be no loss of provision as a result of these cuts. But a quick survey of my local Cherry Hinton Children's Centre shows this is simply not the case. 22% of all parents there say that its removal to Trumpington will mean that they can't attend. If you look at the studies I refer to, which it appears the Council has not done, you will find the effects of deprivation of closing centres stay with people throughout their whole lives. The only thing they excel at is getting into jail. Family, career, personal relations all suffer because of that deprivation, however small, in the first 3 years. I look forward to hearing why this Council wants to perpetuate this culture of all-round failure, especially at a time when the demographics show that the whole of Cambridgeshire is destined for a population spurt. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you very much for your question. I think what you said in relation to changing demography is not disputed. As I'm sure you're aware, the plan for a national consultation on the future of children's centres was announced in September 2015, but this has yet to be published. Children's centre provision has been maintained to a good level and standard in Cambridgeshire during this period of uncertainty. Officers have been involved at the national level in participating in an all-party parliamentary group on children's centres. This parliamentary group concluded that the expertise and ways of working with families which have evolved during the Sure Start era should seek to address the wider needs of more vulnerable families. This ambition is reflected in these proposals and the wider Children's Change programme, developing a more integrated approach across our social care and early health services. The second national response came from the Children's Commission in October 2016, which with the publication of the Family Hubs discussion paper, suggesting how a whole family approach could support vulnerable children. Officers have also been informed by a variety of other research documents, including Helping Parents to Parent, the Social Mobility Commission, Early Moments Matter, UNICEF 2017, the Cost of Late Intervention, the Early Intervention Foundation 2016, and Closing the Gaps, the Sutton Trust 2017. These studies have backed up the authority's commitment to early help services, resulting in our continued spend across district early help services of more than £7 million each year, in addition to the Child and Family Centre budget of £4.3 million. We have also worked hard to ensure there is no reduction in the delivery of frontline services proposed as part of this restructuring. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Vice. Can I ask Mr. Neil Perry to ask a question, please?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you. Good to have the opportunity to speak to councillors. Romsey Mill actively supports change that leads to the improvement in outcomes for children, young people and families, and contributes to the wider community well-being. For over 37 years, Romsey Mill has demonstrated compassion, creativity, flexibility. We've added significant financial value. We've responded to the needs of young people, children and families in Cambridgeshire. Councillors, please understand that our disagreement with the actual proposals being put forward for the future of children's centre services does not come from a position of us being concerned primarily about what's happening in Cambridge City. It doesn't come from an unwillingness to face change positively. We want to engage and work with County Council colleagues. We disagree with the proposals because we believe that they contain certain recommendations that will not lead to better outcomes for children and families and will not help to grow resilient and thriving communities. I've written to each of you as councillors individually over the weekend, and I've laid out Romsey Mill's concerns about the consultation process, the information that was presented and the response to consultation. I've shared both with councillors and at the Children and Young People's Committee last week concerns about the balance of investment in early intervention versus late intervention. I've also spoken about the excellent working example of Romsey Mill. Councillor Bywater, you refer to the Children's Commissioner report about family hubs. Romsey Mill is one of the few examples in the county of a family hub that is working. It's inexplicable that there's no rationale given in the consultation as to why the services would be moved from Romsey Mill. But these are my questions. Having already taken £1.5 million out of the budget in the last 3 years, proposing a further £900,000 cut to early intervention budgets, how can we believe that this is going to enhance the well-being of families? And how have we conscientiously taken account of the response of the public to this consultation, overwhelmingly not in support of the proposals, when very little has changed in the response?
One thing that we do disagree on, though, is where the money's coming from. We're not taking it from the frontline services, it's coming from the redesignation of buildings. But anyway, to go back to answering your question, the requirement to publish 5 clear working days before meetings is contained within the Local Government Act 1972, as amended by the local authorities. This is the minimum period required, and where reports are available earlier, we do publish these. The timescale for the consultation were devised in order to allow the maximum available time for a public consultation. We delivered 10 weeks of public consultation, including 4 clear weeks of consultation outside the school holiday period. Discussions were held with our health provider, Cambridgeshire Community Services, prior to and continued during the consultation to explore the viability of offering child and family centre services from the Brookfield site. No decisions were made on the basis of these conversations. They were merely to ensure proposals for the area were accurate and viable. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bywater. There were 2 further questions. Sorry, we're doing our best. We're moving on. What is it you can't hear? You can't hear his response?
The answer to the question.
Hang on, no, we'll deal with that later. You will get a response. I think the written response is on the written response is on the internet. There will be. Somebody pass it through. No, it's not moving on. No. Hang on. This is what happens here. We don't have 4. I'm allowed more questions. Anyway, we've got 2 further questions, but they haven't come, so they will get a written response. We will now go back to Mr. Dan Brief's question. We haven't got you. If you would like to start your question, please, and you do have 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. My name is Dan Brief. I'm a parent who uses the children's centres with my 2-year-old daughter Hannah. Welcome, Councillor Count, for coming back and joining us. I just want to reflect quickly on what I've seen today, and I think it's only fair that you know this. I've seen complete contempt shown to the public by the benches on that side. Remember Now, my fellow Labour activists and our councillors and I have been contacted by parents all over the county, and we're listening to the anger that this Tory council and government has created. I personally have visited a number of children's centres and I've listened to the parents' concerns about their closure. Now, many of their concerns include a loss of a place to meet other parents, a loss of a place to get help, when, for instance, suffering from something like postnatal depression, and the loss of a lifeline for many families, particularly in rural areas such as South Cambs. I'll now come on to my question. However, I want to give some context first. Now, this Tory-led council commissioned an independent review of councillors' pay. Councillor Count and his Tory colleagues rejected that report and decided to vote themselves a huge, greedy and unjustifiable pay rise. I'm sure that nurses, teachers, police and your own council staff wish they had the same luxury to vote themselves a pay rise. Nationally, the Tory government is squeezing councils until the pits squeak, yet our Tory councillors managed to find a way to fill the trough. In light of this, my question is, why are councillors accepting a pay rise when they are cutting children's centre funding?
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and my apologies to everybody for being late. I really did have to do something else, and it's never my intention not to be here. That's the fact. In May of this year, Council decided to change its committee structure, and that change meant a review of allowances was necessary for the new structure. Full Council debated recommendations at length, and this Council decided to adopt an allowance structure aligned to the UK average for county councillors. Whilst this was an overall rise in total, with some positions increased, others were reduced and 15 removed entirely. The rise in the basic allowance was taken by all councillors of all political persuasions. The question mentions a pay rise, and councillors do not receive pay in the traditional sense of the word, but receive an allowance that should be designed to offset some of the time commitments, lost earnings and expenses necessary to fulfil the role of councillor. The new scheme estimated that approximately 30% of our time would still be given for free. Before adopting the new structure, Cambridgeshire County councillors had been accepting a basic allowance that was the lowest for county councillors in the whole country. Whilst the basic allowances, council took into account the stresses on the budget necessitating savings that had been in place for some time and were likely to continue for the foreseeable future. This would include awareness of proposed savings over the 5-year plan. When debating any issue at full council, members are encouraged to look at the full picture and take differing views into account before making any decision. That decision-making process endeavours to take a balanced view on behalf of all of the residents of Cambridgeshire, and the minutes of the debate are available to inspect, and there's an electronic link will be on the website. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cat. If we can now take all the questions. If I missed anybody, please.
Just got that, can I just respond to it on a point of information? Councillor Cat announced that the overall point of information, Councillor Cat said that all councillors had taken the pay rise. We did not all receive a pay rise. Many of us received a pay rise.
Right, I think the time is moving on. We've had questions, we've had answers. If anybody would like the answers in this format, please do come through.
Microphone check.
We're moving on. Sorry, Justin. Microphone. If anybody wants the answers in written format, please do come back to me. Okay, have questions. When Jocelyn, we've got to move on.
I would like to make a point of order. Councillor Count has implied that all councillors agree to the rise. Then there is a point of order.
No.
From Councillor Count.
That's not a point of order. Let's move on.
That's not what you said.
Number 5, petitions. I'm sure you would like to speak to them. Item 5 is on petitions and allows members of the public to present petitions in accordance with the agreed protocol. I am proposing to take one petition from the public. Details of the petition have been emailed to members and published on the council website prior to the council meeting. be debated at this meeting. Could I ask the petition organiser, Ms. Vicky Shepherd, to speak to the petition? You have 5 minutes. But can I also say, as this item is the next item, I will propose that we debate the petition within the next item. Okay? So it still be debated, but we won't be debating within the cut-off, it will be debated within the next.
As long as all the people who have come to hear the debate can stay to listen to that motion.
Public meeting. No, that's no problem, but I just didn't want to go one conversation and another. There's an hour from there. Would you like to speak to your petition?
No, it's not, because I didn't start. Jane, you
Hi, I'm Vicky Shepherd and I am a local campaigner in Cambridge. I am the type of mum who will slip through the cracks if the current proposals for the Children's Centre cuts go ahead. When I had my first child, my husband and I were both doing fine. I was actually working at the county council, we had our own home, everything was okay. I had a very difficult pregnancy. I had a harrowing birth, ending up in an emergency C-section, and spent a week on the special care baby unit with my son, who's now 10. I dread to think what would have happened to me and my family had the worker at the local children's centre not mentioned to me that it might be worth talking to my GP about postnatal depression. I still remember that day clearly. It was nearly 11 years ago. I couldn't drive. I could barely walk the 2 blocks to my local children's centre. My husband had gone back to work as a primary school teacher, leaving me alone for what felt like eons, with no local network, no family in this country, and literally not knowing a single person in my street. I was reeling from the changes in my life. I was struggling to feed my baby, and I was struggling to recover from a difficult birth experience, both mentally and physically. Walking into that children's centre was one of the hardest things I have ever done in my life. I am so glad today that I did, because walking in and seeing a friendly face and having somebody make me a cup of tea and hold my baby was exactly what I needed on that day. And I continue to go back to the children's centre almost every day, because I knew no matter how bad my night was, no matter how bad my day was, no matter how worried I was about what I might do if I was alone, I could go to the children's centre and I could find a friendly face. Now, I was not in a mental state or a physical state. I could not drive for 6 weeks after my birth. I could not lift my buggy onto a bus because of the gash through my abdomen. I could not have got across the city or the county to another centre. It was not physically possible. And I was not on anyone's red flag list. I was employed. I owned my own home. I'm university educated. No one would have checked that I was okay. My heart breaks for the thousands and thousands of people across this county who will be affected by these proposals. For the babies and young children who will not have the support they need. For the communities that will not be formed by the mums and parents and families in these counties, in these villages. For the thousands and thousands of people who will slip through the cracks because they also are not red flag enough to be picked up by your new system. Now, it is my honour to present this petition on behalf of the more than 3,000 people. As of this morning, there's more than 4,000 people who have signed this petition, which is more than double the number of people who took part in the consultation. And all of these people agree with me that these proposals are damaging, they are ill thought through, and they will cause irrevocable damage to our communities, our families, and the place we live. I ask you, elected members, to vote against this proposal, to do whatever is necessary within the wheels of this democratic council to stop these proposals in order to take them back and rethink them with proper consultation in a thought-through way that will not damage our society. We ask that you keep our children's centres open.
Before I proceed with the agenda, can I remind you about the audio voting system amendment? In order to register to speak, you need to press the silver button. You will then be automatically added to my list of speakers. If you have a point of order, this means that there has been an alleged breach of council rules or procedure or law. So I will need the member to indicate the rule or law which he or she considers has been broken for personal explanation. This may only relate to some material parts of an earlier speech by the member which may appear to have been misunderstood in the present debate. Just raise your hand if you don't press the button. Raise your hand and the broken microphone will come to you. We now move on to number 6. Children's centres respond to the public consultation and proposals for new service provision. Can I ask the Chairman of the Children and Young People Committee, Councillor Bywater, to move the recommendation as set out on the council agenda?
Chairman, I'm pleased to move the recommendation set out on the council agenda.
Thank you.
Yes, I think this is that right space.
Thank you. Right, we now go into the facts. We now go into the facts. Thank you. Can I ask Councillor Bywater to try and speak more to the microphone? People are, yes, people are okay.
I'm happy with Dr. leading project.
Sorry?
So we've got to lean approach, you don't need to be here, so you can hear me.
It's better if you sit down, so that people...
It may
Yeah. If people hear you better, then that's fine. Are you happy with that?
be. Is that okay? Can everybody hear me?
Right.
As Chair of the Children and Young People's Committee and in presenting these proposals to full Council, I'm pleased to report on the strong level of engagement we have achieved within this important public consultation, and I warmly welcome the members of the public here today to further debate these proposals. With over 2,200 responses to the online consultation and additional responses from a range of organisations and partners, Council can be assured that this has been a full and meaningful consultation, and that resident feedback has further shaped our proposals for the future of our child and family centre services. Whilst many respondents supported the proposals within this consultation, others were concerned they might lose services that they very strongly value. I want to outline today how our residents can be assured that they will continue to have access to essential services that support them as parents, and how indeed in the future those services will be ever more responsive and flexible in order to meet not only the changing needs of families, but of the whole communities. Firstly, I wish to extend my thanks to the raft of Children's Centre staff who have worked tirelessly over the past few months to ensure so many of our families have engaged in this consultation. During the consultation, I've been fortunate to visit many of the centres and outreach activities, and have been deeply impressed by the staff that show a commitment and dedication in delivering services that improve outcomes for our families. I've equally been struck by how many of those staff support and indeed have co-designed the proposals that see our services becoming ever more flexible, targeted and responsive in a rapidly changing county. As a council, we are strongly committed to delivering early intervention as part of our ambition to see all of Cambridgeshire families thrive. Our commitment to this is evident in our delivery of multi-professional district early help teams, our commissioning of a range of early help services, and in these proposals for the future of child and family centre services. We understand that the support of the children in the early years is crucial, and that families need to access the right services in the right place and at the right time, and in order to ensure their needs are met and to avoid the damaging and costly escalations of problems later. We also take our fiscal responsibilities seriously, and in addition to understanding how early intervention investment makes financial sense, It is essential that we ensure more of our resources are spent on frontline service delivery and less on the overheads that offer less value or impact to our families. These proposals achieve this by ensuring our increased level of spend on frontline staff while streamlining management and building overheads, and in the process of doing so, make efficiency savings of £900,000. We understand that having services in good, family-friendly, accessible buildings is important, and this will continue with a good level of provision across the whole county. In total, we will operate 27 buildings across the county as either child and family centres or as family homes. The location of these buildings has been determined by high population and high need data. We have also amended some of our original proposals in this respect as a result of consultation feedback. The redesignation of some present children's centre buildings is in addition adding further capacity to our sufficiency of childcare for families. We want to see our improved child family centres and zones being the go-to place for any parent to access services or information about all family-related matters, and be places where we offer activities and interventions for families and support for separating or separating families. Some residents have been concerned they will not be able to access support as they do now. I can assure you today that we will be making sure that there continues to be a full range of services provided for all children as part of the Child and Family Centre offer, and new and first-time parents will continue to be a priority. We will aim to work more closely with our partners from midwifery and health visiting to ensure that mental health needs of new parents are identified early and support offered, including access to health support such as well baby clinics, baby groups and stay and play activities for young families. Many of our children's centres presently have parent-led universal provision as part of the current offer, and we propose this will continue alongside the universal information offer available from our buildings and our enhanced online offer. It is our responsibility to ensure our resources are distributed fairly in order that we meet the needs of our most vulnerable citizens within the county. Ensuring much of our resources is invested in the provision of family workers who work flexibly and reactively to the changing needs ensures we can target our resources to those families and communities in the greatest need, and not to simply to the maintenance of buildings, many of which are no longer in the best location for families, for the communities we must serve. These proposals form part of our relentless determination to deliver improved life chances and opportunities, and to do this by improving the services that support our residents. These proposals ensure we are a county that serves all of its children, ensuring all of its families thrive. And I recommend these proposals to council.
Guys, we are going to have a few speakers.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I was moved this morning by the prayers in chamber, particularly because I was asked by the ECB in Cambridgeshire 2 weeks ago to actually talk on the purpose of prayers in council chambers. I was really saddened that the leader of this authority was not here to hear prayers. More, I was disgusted with the contempt shown for this authority when 1 hour and 40 minutes after discussing an issue which affects us so much, you join us. Thank you. I entered politics, Madam Chairman, in the days of Mrs. Thatcher. I remember what was said in those days. She, you, know the price of everything, but absolutely the value of nothing. In 16 years as a district councillor, 8.5 years in this chamber, all I see is cut, 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 cut from the Tories. I despise these Tory cuts, which defy their logic. It's more like a mantra, started here perhaps by Baroness Black, to make us a model Tory threadbare authority, pushing aside those that care. This attack will hit the public purse across so many areas: healthcare, crime, social services. Some of us know the value of early intervention, early help, which has been so powerfully spoken to by our public speakers and petitioner. Really, I feel the Conservatives have a long-term, cunning, baldric plan, but not one to smile about. An evil plan to disadvantage so many of our population, to silence them, to marginalise them, instead of empowering them to achieve the best in their lives, so that they can contribute to the public good. As the member for Trumpington, you expect me to support that area. In fact, there's the largest number of petitioners signing signatures from Trumpington. But actually, I would also say we represent the whole authority. The need in Finland is so great. You cut your own need. It doesn't make sense. My first phone call came from a 90-year-old member, 90-year-old member of the public in Trumpington. And I was so impressed that she spoke with passion about why we should be considering those that are starting out in their journey in life. So, don't dismiss the need. Don't throw this aside. Your ideas of being more flexible, seeing more outreach, restructuring, all the nonsense. Reconsider, open your hearts. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'm aware that before I arrived there were some comments about me not being here, and I've just heard it again. I think it would be wise for me to give a point of personal explanation, because if not, the point will be regurgitated time and time again during the debate. It was absolutely my hope and my intention to be here fully for the debate, and in fact the entire Port Council business today. But an extraordinary meeting of the NEP was called, and as the County Council's appointee to that, I had to make a balanced decision in discussion with my Chief Executive, aware of the interests of the County Council of Best-Lane. Now, there are 60 plus people here debating this, and I am one solitary voice, but I'm one powerful voice over there that needed to be heard. So my apologies on that. I am here for the full debate. I've made every effort to be here, and it was on County Council business that was a balanced decision why I couldn't be here. So my apologies to everybody for not being here from the very start, but I do intend to engage right throughout this debate, and it was absolutely unbelievable.
Thank you. Sure Start is our flagship, and children's centres are the key to Sure Start delivery. We recognise that every child has a right to a good life, to a productive life, and that child's right needs to be exercised and able to be exercised, and that is to the benefit of every single one of us. As long as any child in Cambridgeshire is not fairly treated and does not have proper access to Sure Start, then every single member of the community of Cambridgeshire is disadvantaged. We recognise that this key, children's centres and Sure Start, ensures that all children, the many, not the few, have a good start, a fair start, an equal start and a sure start in life. This proposal does not do this. This proposal destroys that possibility. And let me warn every single one of the councillors who votes for this proposal, you are opening this county council to a judicial review. And it will be a judicial review on every ground on which judicial review can be launched. 1, procedural impropriety. 2, illegality. 3, irrationality. As for procedural impropriety, this so-called consultation absolutely interferes with the issue of procedural propriety. No consultation with City Council staff on this. No consultation with children's centres, delivery partners or staff on the draft proposal. No consultation in relation to staff cuts. lack of financial facts, figures, lack of details of the level of service that is supposed to be produced through these pop-up centres that we're going to have in people's front gardens or front lounges. And I'm very pleased to note that the idea of a pop-up centre is gone, but the concept remains there. Misleading representation in diagrams, as children's centre buildings that are to go are still in the consultation document in those diagrams. So procedural impropriety, flaw, you actually meet the procedural impropriety test. As for illegality, this council is already in a position of illegality with regard to the services that are being provided for children. The issue is that we have an obligation to look after children, and we are breaching the obligation to look after children. There is no doubt that the statistics indicate very clearly that the cuts that have already been made are actually impacting to such a degree that looked after children numbers are rising exponentially, and that means that we are not meeting our legal obligation, hence illegality. On the issue of irrationality, which is the most difficult ground of judicial review to meet, it's very clear that there is irrationality here. Let me quote from Dr. Whiteread, who is the co-director of Cambridge University Centre Research on Play and Education, Development and Learning. He points out that closing children's centres is a false economy. For example, research nationally and internationally shows that high quality preschool education before children enter the school system can have a significant impact on a child's educational achievements as well as their well-being and level of life. It is true, from an economist, that for every dollar spent on high quality preschool education, some $10 to $15, this is in America, was saved in long-term provision. And those statistics can be replicated here in Cambridgeshire. Let me conclude by referring to Closing the Gaps Early, the paper by the Sutton Trust, the role of early years policy in promoting social mobility in England. You know, what this is about, it is pure ideology. And it is ideology of a Conservative Party that has no care whatsoever for peripheral people who are out in the community. And by supporting this proposal, you are into damaging, destroying and denying children their rights. Voting for this is a vote against every single child in Cambridgeshire.
Councillors, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome all the public who have come today and thank you for everything that you've said to us. I'd like to thank Nikki Shepherd for presenting our petition of 4,000 signatures. And as Colin McGurty explained, people from all over Cambridgeshire have signed to defend our children's centres, from Roman Bank down to Duxford, from King Bolton to Wood Ditton. And there are hundreds of signatures in some divisions: Trumpington, Queen Edith, Cherry Hitton, Romsey, Shelford, Sawston. The beauty of our children's centres is that they are local, they're in the community. Local means accessible, and accessible means local. Because when you have small children, it's more complicated to get places. It takes longer, maybe impossible, if you use public transport. And we know what that's like in Cambridgeshire. Now, in the consultation, all the districts had people who reported this difficulty of travelling around with little children. Buses, if there are any, buggies, accessibility, traffic, and cost. It's all much more expensive to pop into your children's centre if you have to get a bus there and back or park, especially in Cambridge. Now, I've been hearing
like others, from so many people about how children's centres have helped them. Teenagers on the Young Parents programme at Romsey Mill, who were taught how to look after their babies. A mother who was able to get through depression thanks to a support package. A family with adopted children whose children's centre was there for them when the going got tough. And anybody who's been involved with adoption will know that it's no walking path. Many other ordinary families who told me about how the staff and the other parents at their children's centres made them more effective and happier parents. Now these were good outcomes. And just think about the scenario without the benefits of children's centres for those people. The teenage parents cannot cope, and the child ends up going into care. The mother's depression becomes unbearable. She has to go to hospital. Her child will have to go into care too. A child's learning problems are not spotted early enough, and they get worse so they fall behind at school. An adoption could break down. Now these, you may say, sound alarmist, but these things do happen, and every one is a personal tragedy. Closing 19 children's centres across the county is a brutal act and will cause immense human cost. But I put it to you that even in financial terms, the cost of those sorts of outcomes, children in care, more costs upon the health service and on our education service, those costs far outweigh the £1 million saving that you are seeking. If you vote for these closures today, it will mean more children in care, it will mean more medical needs and higher costs of the NHS, and it will mean a bigger attainment gap between the less well-off and the well-off. Now, we all come into politics for different reasons, so I don't know why you did it, but when I first stood to be a councillor, it was to try to make things better, not to make things worse. And I put it to you that these closures will harm most people who are least able to speak up for themselves and cause irreparable damage. So I call on you to join us in voting against them. If you care about Cambridgeshire, if you care about the future, I urge you, please do not do this. Thank you.
Well, it's humbling, isn't it? It's humbling to follow such brilliant speakers that we've listened to, and I think more for coming along is heartbreaking. What I've seen since I rejoined this council is a faith in transformation, and with a capital T. And up to a point, of course, transformation is positive and creative. But when the notion of transformation becomes an article of faith, it's just a fantasy, and it's a wicked and frightening fantasy. And it reminds me of the old thing that John Major said about 20, 30 years ago. If it isn't hurting, it isn't working. And that is the Tory mantra in this council. It's what I see, is what I feel being a member of this council. And this is the case in point with nobs on in that regard. It's really frightening, especially in a case like this when it's so clear that there is a great and growing need for more preventative and more early intervention services. Chair, you cannot always do better. This council cannot always do better or do well enough on less money. And as many objectors are crying out, this is a case in point. Things are going to get worse for children and families and communities in the short and the long run if the Conservative group votes to go ahead with this. That's what the experts say, and that's what the public who are here today are saying. Now, the other thing that I often hear from Conservatives in this council is that they came into council work for non-political reasons. They say they don't like political things. What they mean is they don't like party political things. But let's make no mistake whatsoever. And all those Conservative councillors who I think are just sitting over there wishing this moment would go away, absolutely no intention of changing their minds. They have had no intention of changing their minds on this for several months. I mean, let's be quite clear, that's right, isn't it? No intention. But when you sit over there, you are making a most highly party political decision. It is the choice that you made and have made over recent years to keep this council short of money, deliberately short of money, by not calling on the community to empty its pockets or pay a bit more out of its pockets to pay for the services that are most desperately needed, by pandering to the ideological view that you'll get votes by keeping the council tax down a bit. This is a highly political, party political choice that you're making, but you don't have to make it. You can make a difference to families' lives, make a difference to your community's lives by making it better, by not doing this today.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Incredibly difficult dilemma we find ourselves in today. Very hard to think of anything more important than services for children and outcomes for vulnerable people. I don't think anybody in this chamber takes any pleasure in cutting funding for services, but I think we've got to be honest, that's what we're being asked to do today. The consultation document, I think, uses some very clever language, suggesting that we're going to redesign the service, simplify the process, improve transactions, flexibility, all those management words, buzzwords, all sound fantastic. One of my concerns, though, is not only the effect on the children and their families, but also the effect on our staff here in Shire Hall and throughout the county. I see that at least 11 redundancies are planned. Paragraph 1.5 of the report outlines that. And I am pleased to see that some sort of compromise has been found, although a very small one, of only £900,000 worth of cut. That's still a cut of 17%, I might add. So I'd like to congratulate Councillor Taylor on organising the petition, getting over, I think, over 2,000 signatures, possibly more now. And also to the officers for conducting the consultation, and Councillor Bywater for standing here today and answering questions. I do have a couple of questions I would like to get answers for. First one being, since many children's centres were funded wholly or in part by a Sure Start capital grant from the Department of Education, surely this council has done a consultation with the Education and Skills Department, and we have certainty on the amount of funding that they will claw back. That seems to me to be a very big unknown. Paragraph 4.1.5 of the report is very vague. It says that we'll mitigate this by making the best use of our buildings. It doesn't seem that these proposals actually will achieve that. A more simple question, if these budget reductions are actually going to increase frontline services and bring forward these great changes, why was this not proposed before? It doesn't necessarily mean, of course, that cuts mean a worse service, but I think it's very difficult in this case to argue that. I have to say as well, some of the questions to the consultation are, shall I say, quite artfully worded. It's pretty difficult to say no to the question, should children's centres focus on those that need them the most? Of course the answer to that is yes. But I noticed that with the exception of Fenland, all the districts have been more unsupportive of these proposals than supportive on the majority vote. So, as I said, a very difficult decision to make for some members, I understand that. But I'd ask if there could be a further compromise and perhaps less severe cuts to these proposals. There has already been a little bit of a compromise. Perhaps a greater one can be found. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Williams. Sorry, Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. One thing this report has done is shown that actually we need to be doing more, not less. We need more children's centres in this county, not cutting them, we should be increasing them. People in our county need the opportunity of a drop-in that they can go to when it's there at their convenience, when it's within their easy walking distance of their home, not reducing the service, not limiting the service to those most in need. We need to take every opportunity of making sure we increase our income. And I have to say that if this council had adopted a Lib Dem budget 2 years ago, we would be now £10 million better off, and we would not be in this position of having to cut these children's centres. We heard from the petitioner how important it is to have the opportunity of having a children's centre on your doorstep that you can go into when you want to, when you most need to, and not have to wait at home for someone to identify you as a case that ought to be dealt with by social services. This is not what children's centres were there for. It is not what we should be using children's centres for. They should be a one-stop shop for all parents, for all families, regardless of their income, regardless of their circumstances. 70 people in my division of Fulbourn signed the petition. Really proud of that. What are we going to get out of this? 1 hour a week of sensory play. That's what Fulbourn's going to get from this plan. If for no other reason, we know at the moment not one Conservative member of this authority has had the guts to support the chairman for their proposal of cutting children's centres. We've not heard of one of them. They're all sitting there like dummies. With their heads. I would ask them this. Next May, you in South Cambs up for election. If you think this is going to go away before the people go and vote on who they want to run South Cambs next year, you're going to be deluded, because we're going to make sure that people in South Cambs know who voted to cut their children's centre, who voted to reduce their early years services for their children, for their families. So I'd ask you, we know you always put party before people. You do it in government. You're putting your party before this country at the moment with Brexit. Please think about this for your own, if for not ours, for your own sakes, and do not vote for this.